Lila's first chapter, The Archival Stir. Lila didn't mean to inherit the spoon. She cataloged memories, not stories. But something about the pantry changed her pace. Since that day, she stopped labeling things as unknown and started marking them partially remembered. She moves from town to town now, not for research, but for resonance. She carries the diary, the spoon, and a satchel full of tiny unlabeled jars, each one with a scent that doesn't exist in Lila's first case, the memory of the dish. The scent came from a jar she'd never opened. Inside, warmth, cracked pepper, something sweet rotten like overripe mango. It didn't match any meal she knew, yet it tugged at her ribs like hunger. In the town of Caligo Bend, she met an elder named Nana Esperanza, who spoke of tinulang alon, a dish her mother dreamt of, but never cooked? The recipe was never written, only hummed in syllables at dusk, when the mangroves whispered and the tide pulled back in shame. Lila let the jar breathe. The scent filled the air like a memory trying to be born, and Nana, blind but listening, began to speak, not facts, but impressions. A broth that shimmered like regret. A fish that didn't swim, only waited. Lila wrote nothing down. She just stirred the scent with the spoon and marked the jar, recalled but never remembered. The elder's stirring dream. In a quiet alcove behind the village archive, Lila meets an elder who's never cooked, yet speaks of a dish as though it's been haunting her all her life. It rises in the back of my throat, she says, sweet like burnt citrus, bitter like riverstone. Each night, the elder dreams of steam. It curls into a shape, a bird with a spoon for a beak, dipping into a bowl the elder never dares touch. She hears a melody, barely audible, threaded through with static. The chorus of something almost remembered. Lila doesn't record this in her diary. She records the elder's voice directly into a scent jar, sealing it with wax. This could become the core of a new dream recipe, one Lila attempts by listening, not tasting. You want her to fail a little, maybe? Let the dish vanish if spoken too loudly? Or we could turn the elder's melody into a backing audio loop for your video, played with some gentle warping, like memory underwater. Tinulang alon, a sensory recipe from the elder's dream. Bass note, a memory before language, silence curled around the throat like steam. Essence, bitterness of riverstone smoothed by centuries. A taste that aches without flavor. Aroma, burnt citrus lingering on the edge of forgetting, sharp, then vanishing. Texture, velvet broth woven from indecision, too thin to nourish, too thick to discard. Temperature, like dusk pressing against damp clay walls. Not hot, not cold, just remembered. Visual, the bird with a spoon-shaped beak, dipping not to eat, but to measure longing. Sound, a melody hummed underwater, warped, static-threaded, slipping between syllables. Aftertaste, the echo of a recipe once dreamed by someone else. Regret served warm. And the silence smells like memory. Cracked tiles scatter beneath her boots. The sun presses through broken rafters, warming a patch of ghost fruit left behind decades ago. As the jar opens, the air shifts, not with breeze, but with recognition. The scent is soft, evasive, charcoal citrus, dusted nostalgia, and something like rain falling through old song. It pulls her toward a collapsed stall draped in faded fabric. There, she finds a paper scrap. Recipe lost during the naming flood. It reads, best cooked in silence. A spoon clinks inside her satchel. Not loudly, just enough to affirm that yes, this dish once tried to exist. Lila doesn't record the scent. She walks the perimeter of the marketplace, spoon in hand, and lets it stir the echo that clings to the walls. When she leaves, the scent jars feel heavier, or maybe she's lighter. The naming flood. Long ago, the village tried to catalog everything. Every dish, emotion, child's laugh, and smell. Elders began stitching names into fabric, salt, and prayer. But one monsoon season, the names grew heavy with meaning, too dense, too layered, and broke their vessels. Spoken aloud, the names caused forgetting. Children began calling their mothers by dish names. Recipes started describing weather. Memory unraveled as labels overgrew identity. Then came the flood, not of water, but of misplaced meaning. The rain spoke in old dialects, and the spoon stopped stirring. Most records drowned. What remained were scraps. Taste without name is safer. Now, in abandoned places like Caligo Bend, Lila finds relics from the naming flood. ingredients unlabeled, emotions sealed in jars, and elders who refuse to speak aloud what they still remember. Character profile: Isla Oren, the keeper of unspeaking. Age undetermined. Locals claim she hasn't aged since the naming flood. Role: former archivist turned unspeaker, a guardian of memory who speaks only in gestures and scents. Appearance: wears a robe stitched from salt-stained fabric scraps. Carries a spoon on a cord around her neck, not for cooking, but for listening. Voice: lost during the flood. She communicates by stirring jar lids, each tap a syllable. 1 tap means remember. 3 taps means not yet. Backstory: before the flood, Isla was renowned for her precise cataloging of emotional recipes, dishes that described how a person felt the day they first forgot something. When the naming flood surged, her archive became unstable. Names changed mid-sentence, and memories congealed into new, untraceable forms. She watched her own records dissolve as if they'd never existed. Instead of fleeing, Isla stayed. She vowed to never name another thing. Instead, she began crafting unrecipes, meals that erased their own instructions once served. She became fluent in what she called scent script, a language of aroma and inflection only partially understood. She first met Lila when the younger archivist mistook one of Isla's jars as mislabeled. It wasn't. It was labeled with a scent that only existed in the hours before dawn. She hadn't spoken in years, not since the flood stitched noise into names and names into forgetting. Lila finds her sitting beneath a canopy of salt-dyed linens, each one stitched with a scent glyph. The air is quiet, almost reverent. No crickets, no wind. Just the soft clink of Isla's spoon against a clay lid. 1 tap, remember. 3 taps, not yet. 2 taps, Lila realizes, mean ask carefully. Lila doesn't speak aloud. She uncorks a jar, tastes like memory trying to be reborn, and places it in Isla's open palm. The elder inhales, eyes closed, and lifts her spoon to the air as if stirring sound. The scent curls into something near recognition. Isla gestures to a threadbare recipe fragment. Cooked only once, served to no one. Remembered by everyone who never knew it. Lila nods. This isn't a recipe to replicate, it's one to witness. And somewhere beneath that silence, stirred gently by the spoon, a new memory begins forming. Not hers, not Isla's, but the marketplace itself, remembering what it was before the names drowned. Yes, let's make Isla's archive not just a destination, but a refuge when words betray meaning. The Archive of Unspeaking. Hidden behind a shuttered bathhouse and beneath a salt-heavy canopy, Isla Oren's archive isn't organized by title or topic. It's arranged by loss. Each shelf holds jars of scent, fragments of sound, and heat-mapped memories, artifacts that exist precisely because they can't be spoken. Lila only returns when her own language begins to crumble. After she hears a dish name that changes when written down, when she meets a child who speaks in flavor, or when the spoon won't stir because the memory is too raw. Here, in Isla's archive, dialogue happens through gestures and heat, the bend of sunlight, the weight of aroma. Ritual of entry. Before entering, Lila must inhale a specific jar. Unshed citrus, regret preserved. It erases her most recent sentence. Inside, she carries no pen, no recorder, only the spoon and the jar she's trying to decode. Functions of the archive. Memory rebinding station. 2 jars are mixed under low light, forming a new aroma she must not name. If she recognizes it, it dissolves. Echo shelf. Footsteps trigger past voices, layered but blurred. Isla's are the clearest. Stirring circle. A basin where scents are stirred into patterns. Lila watches, learns, never labels.